make it 3.
Going for the St. Louis now.
Oh no!
Son of a bitch.
You get your 2?
Yeah. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thotgor here, of course, and 2 video clips today. So the first one we're going to look at is going to be in the Ibuki. Just while that's loading up, though, excellent to see all the comments on yesterday's video. Yeah, I agree with all of those comments about those German cruisers and really using AP shells in them. It's actually a little crazy. And in the second clip we have today, we'll take a closer look at that actually. But for now, in the Ibuki. So this was on Hotspot. Now, I was under the impression, I know that I'm not in a division right now, but I was under the impression that with the release of the new ships, that it was a patch, right? And then we would get other things as well. Like, you know, if you ride the blue line, you'll be at 75% power now, or you'll lose 75% power, I think. As well, more importantly, if you're in a division, you'll spawn together. But apparently that's not the case. Apparently the ships that were given we already had them like downloaded in the game. They just unlocked it for us to use now, and the patch is still incoming. Maybe, not 100% sure on that, but that was strange. Anyway, in the Ibuki, still cruising. I think I'm at this point in the Ibuki. I have the range increase, so 16.5 kilometers is the range now on it, which is very, very nice, and still working towards a hull upgrade. I think the hull upgrade is like 42,000 or something like that. Obviously, it's going to cost millions of dollars, so it'll be a little while yet. But anyway, something strange. Normally, you know, when you start on Hotspot like this and you're in this sort of position, everyone is going to converge towards that C point. And I was really surprised to see at the beginning of this battle that no, everyone around me wanted to go towards B. You can tell I'm uneasy about it, and I'm still looking at C and thinking about it and determining whether or not, you know, I should continue in this direction. But I do end up staying with the majority of my team and helping them out, which is, you know, probably goes without saying. It's what you want to do. If I would have just charged off there in C, I mean, C gets pretty hectic, and probably would have died right away. So good call. Stay with the team. We do start getting some under some fire here from the people, the enemy ships who are taking C. And you can see the Ibuki and I, who were kind of just steaming off in the same direction. We now split in opposite directions. He goes starboard into C, and I go port towards B. And we'll see how that plays out. But I do have a few enemy ships here, and I was concerned to see the group of cruisers up there. Yeah, I actually wanted to go and start fighting them right away, but then this Colorado comes around, and I'm looking at the allies I have, and I do have a battleship in front of me. I think it's another Colorado, and so I'm thinking, yeah, maybe I'll help out the ally Colorado with this Colorado, right? Because it's not going to be hard to kill in this in my Ibuki. That guy doesn't really have a chance, but you know. So, I did put a few shots into him. He tries to shoot me, but he can't do nothing about it. But I'm still looking around. You can see I'm still concerned about C, right? Look at it over there. At least 4 enemy ships, 3 cruisers, and I think there's a battleship in there as well. And all I've got is my friendly Ibuki over there. And the cruisers that do have, I mean, there's Atlanta, so he's really easy to kill. There's a York as well, which is the German Tier 7 cruiser. This is the first time I saw a German Tier 7 cruiser, by the way, in this battle. And it's actually the highest German cruiser I've seen so far. And in terms of the Russian destroyers, I've seen a Kiev. I think that's Tier 7 as well. So those are the highest that I've seen so far. I'm surprised I haven't seen any Tier 10s and whatnot. I figured people would have been all over just jumping right up those lines, but maybe they haven't. I just haven't seen them, right? Now, still looking at the cruisers now that are in the C cap point. I really didn't have a whole lot of hope for my friendly Ibuki. And I didn't want to see him die. I mean, there's that guy there. He's making some pretty glaring mistakes by running into the island, and I'm able to get some quick citadels on him like that. And yeah, it was the Atlanta. So the Atlanta, I mean, paper thin armor. There's nothing to it. So very easy to penetrate and to do a whole crap ton of damage to him. And there he goes. He is gone. So that's 1 kill for me. So not too bad. There's the York. I was hoping that he would come around the island, right, so I could start pumping shots into him, but he played it smart and ran himself aground strategically. Doesn't mean I have nothing to shoot at though. I think this was a Mogami. Yeah, this Mogami and I, we have these crazy, in this clip here we're going to watch, it's like crazy torpedo battle between us. We each keep firing torpedoes at each other while we're focused on other targets. Luckily he didn't focus on me too much, and when I do start focusing on him, it's all too late for him anyway. But the York, we can really see, as it's coming up here, what you can expect from the Tier 7 York, and in terms of armor anyway, right? Showing your broadside, that's the only thing we can see here. There's the York, you can see his spooky little camouflage there, he paid 30 gold for. Put one salvo into him, I get a nice citadel shot on him. He's down to half health now. I have got a battleship behind me. I think his name is Aluminum or Aluminium. There it goes, his shots, and they kill him. Yeah. So clearly, at Tier 7, with your German cruisers, you still want to protect your broadsides and not expose them, because again you'll probably be shipping around in a paper ship, or well, not paper thin armor ship, I suppose. Not paper ship. Well, is the York a paper ship? I have no idea, frankly. Oh well, whatever. You guys know what I meant. There's the turpits off there. Yeah, you have to be careful about the turpits, right? They hit really, really hard. And in the Japanese cruisers, it's the same as the German cruisers. Look at that. I just took a few hits and like he probably got a nice citadel on me or just did a crap ton of damage. So I have barely any health left now. But I do have a repair ability, which is saving grace on these Tier 9 cruisers. We do still have more enemies off into B, and you can see I kind of meandered my way back over to B, right? I did help support the ally Ibuki. He did get out of there. He is alive. And now I'm just sort of getting back into B. One of my torpedoes does hit the turpits, which was nice. Not too bad. Any bit of damage you can do, always welcome. And then there's a Colorado back, right? So we're going to start circling back into B, maybe start capping B. We'll have to judge it as we get there. Just checking the torpedoes. There's no one really I can shoot torpedoes at this time, so really it's just this Colorado. So the Colorado, I know it's not the best battleship in the world, but it has good guns on it when they hit, right? So I don't want to get hit by this guy, so I was driving straight at him to give a small target as possible if he were to decide to shoot at me. But you can see I checked his guns. He wasn't aiming at me at all, so I turn, launch off the torpedoes, and get behind the island for cover. I mean, just because his guns weren't pointing at me, they still aren't. But they could at any minute, right? So I want to get into cover, and I have no health. More or less one lucky salvo from that guy and I'm done. It'll be all over. What I really like is the amount of damage that my armor piercing is doing to this Colorado. I know I'm in a Tier 9, but it's always great to see. You get 3 or 4 hits and you do like 3,600 damage in those few hits. That was great. Torpedoes on the port side are reloaded, and you can see I'm going to line them up again for that enemy Mogami. Yeah. Turpits is over there. There he is there, but he's not quite in my range, and you can see I want to take a look at these islands, right? Where is he going to go, or where are my torpedoes going to end up? Are they going to end up hitting an island or hitting him? Luckily, though, I do have the range with my main battery, so he's driving in a straight line. I mean, why the hell not put some shots into this guy? Only makes sense to do. So shots go in, and yeah, 1,500 damage, not too bad. But he turned at the last minute, so I wouldn't have gotten the broadside anyway, or the citadel shot anyway. But more shots do go into him, and we'll see what we can end up getting on that Mogami. Meantime, my team is just destroying these people. We have A, B, and C. It's more or less just a complete rout now for the enemy. I mean, they only have 3 ships now at this point, right? There's the Mogami, there's the Turpits, and then there's their aircraft carrier. I think the aircraft carrier was an Essex, the Tier 9. So not a whole lot of ships remaining, and the Turpits and the Mogami are on really low health. So what my plan is to finish off the Mogami and then go for the aircraft carrier. Because, to be frank, the aircraft carrier hasn't presented any issues to me whatsoever. Now that I think about it, maybe he was AFK. I'm not sure. That or our aircraft carrier just destroyed all his planes, because he doesn't have any planes in the air, and I didn't get attacked once from airplanes, but whatever, worked out for us. Got a pretty decent salvo into the Mogami, about 2,200 damage, so not too bad. But this last salvo here, this is going to be the one that's going to finish him up. Oh, damn. I was hoping that would be the one that would finish him off. No. But you can see the value on that salvo, right? Like, it looked really nice, but he turned into it, and the shots, instead of getting the Citadel on him, I just hit his turrets and just, bounced off and did a little bit of damage. So that's the value of turning or maneuvering when shots are incoming towards you. Obviously, that third salvo did finish him off, but he really did, that enemy player, really did made the right call, I'll say, by turning into my incoming salvo. So I just hit his cannons and only did, I think it was like, what, 200 damage or something? So keep that in mind too, especially in your German cruisers. Yeah, so I think this carrier was AFK. He's not even moving right now. Whatever. Doesn't matter. We're about to win anyway. There's nothing they can do at this point. The Turbits is almost dead. I think it's the Ibuki who's going to finish him off, that allied Ibuki I was with at the beginning of the match. And then myself and this ally I have over here, I think it's a battleship, is going to, he and I are going to finish off the Essex here. Yeah, AFK guy. I don't know what he was doing. Maybe he disconnected, had something to do, who knows. But again, worked to our advantage. Nice, and I get a nice Confederate out of this as well, which I was surprised at. I didn't think that I hit that many enemy ships, but apparently I did, and got the Confederate. So that's always nice to see, especially at these higher tiers. There's so many hit points involved that when you get a Confederate, it's always that much sweeter. Battle over, victory, of course, 267,000 credits, 4,800 experience. So keep in mind though that at tier 9 I run my Confederate flag always. It's just part of my ship now, and my is but a flesh wound flag to reduce repair costs. So that explains, why some of the experience values are a little higher. But still, every little bit counts, especially at those higher tiers, because everything just costs so much more. In the next clip, we are looking at the Nuremberg again, and what I wanted to look at this more because I did at this point that I'm playing here figure out basically, armor piercing is the way to go on this ship. I even saw some comments, some of you guys have left, that the armor piercings on like the Dresden and the, what's the tier 3, I want to say Edmund, it's not Edmund, Kolberg, Dresden and Kolberg, if you use armor piercing on those, that, it's just going to destroy destroyers. I haven't tried it myself, but I definitely will, and that's interesting. I mean, you can see it though on the German cannons. You can tell the penetration values of what they've got going on. Armor piercing does seem to be the way with these ships, at least early tiers, and up until the tier 6. On this thing, yeah, armor piercing all the way. In this battle, actually, we're going to see, like I said, some great armor piercing shots. So initially, yeah, I am firing high explosive out there, just sort of testing the waters. It was by the end of this battle that, I, like I'd mentioned, resided and figured out that armor piercing is what I want to fire when I'm in my German cruiser, at least at this tier. And so far, I mean, tier 5 is basically the same thing. That Königsberg, when I play that thing, yeah, armor piercing. On a side note though, I do enjoy it seems as though these guns have a really small dispersion, and when I'm firing at destroyers, I am shooting high explosive at destroyers, but a lot of my shots hit and just destroy those destroyers. It's really amazing and really, really awesome. So I do have the enemy equivalent of myself out there in the distance. I put a few shots into him, but yeah, I'm kind of circling around and going into the island. See, the plan here was to go into this, like down that center channel, and maybe group up with the people down there in the south. Damn those dive bombers. But anyway, that plan didn't work out because I noticed that the people that I had spawned with were actually playing this map fairly smartly. They weren't all over the place. They weren't all trying to run down the channel, right? They just weren't. They were being aggressive and they were charging into the enemy base, but they seemed to be doing it in a really smart way, or at least the enemy wasn't able to stop them. So I turn around and I start supporting these people. I'm like, hell yeah. Look at these guys. And the range on the Nuremberg, I mean, you really see it here. I think it's the range is 16.5. I can't recall if I have the increase at this point in time, but once you get the final increase on the ship, you'll be looking at 16.5. That doesn't include advanced firing training at level 4 for your cruiser captain. So there again, you'll get a nice increase to your range as well. some Clevelands off in the distance, right? And these are the Clevelands is what I was really most concerned about in terms of whether to fire high explosive or armor piercing at. I do figure it out, and the answer is armor piercing. It just you do just so much damage, and you can fire really quickly. The reload rate on this thing is like what, 5.2 seconds. So you just get so many shots downrange, and if you're pumping armor piercing into the side of the Cleveland, you will be doing a significant amount of damage. For right now, we are looking, I think that's a Königsberg. Maybe. It's either the tier 5 or tier 6 German cruiser, but I'm just putting salvos into him. I mean, I wasn't able to do too much damage at first because he didn't have his full broadside onto me like he does now. Once he got his full broadside onto me, yeah, I put one salvo into him, brought him down to like 100 health remaining or something, and then finished him off. It was amazing. So here's the Cleveland. He has his broadside to me. I have armor piercing loaded, and I keep putting the armor piercing into him. Look at the damage I'm doing. This is really good damage, and I didn't expect to do this much damage with these guns against the Cleveland. I figured the Cleveland would just be high explosive all the way. The idea there being that you would want to try and knock out as many of his cannons as possible, but with the damage that you do with these cannons with armor piercing, no, I don't see the need. Armor piercing all the way. I mean, in that short time, it was unfortunate that he grounded himself, but in that time, I was able to take out about half his health. Gone. So that wasn't too bad at all. Luckily, I didn't get too focused in on the Cleveland. I did realize I was about to ground myself, so I take, evasive maneuvers here. We're just maneuvering around the island now. I still wanted to put shots into the Cleveland. I really did want to actually get him gone, but just not meant to be. I mean, he's cruising away, and I've got these enemies coming up here. They're aircraft carriers, actually. Yeah. Don't know what those guys were thinking, but I'm about to give them the good news. Let them know that the decisions they have made in this battle were completely wrong. They do have the protection of one enemy ship here. I think it's a cruiser. So we're going to have to deal with that guy. They're all behind the islands. I mean, on the east side of the map, in this little center channel thing, there are a lot of these little islands you can hide behind, right? And generally speaking, it probably wouldn't be too bad of a place for a carrier to go, but you'd have to make some assumptions if you take that position. I would make the assumption first that either the north or south side is already secure, and I don't have to worry about ships coming from either north or south, because you don't want to get sandwiched. The other thing I'd want to make sure of as well, that if I'm in this little middle part in my aircraft carrier, that the reason why I'm there is to support the push of my allies. I'm not there to hide. I think there are better hiding spots. Of course, I don't play carriers. Anyone who does, I'd love to know what you think of straight, and where the best parts are to hide. Now, the Cleveland is almost dead, and I really wanted to get the kill, but just wasn't meant to be. Oh well, I've got aircraft carriers. So here's a Zuho. No idea what this guy was doing. See, he's reversing. Why is he doing this? I mean, I would have had him anyway if he would have went forward, I suppose. So maybe he's just making it easier for him. He's just accepted his fate. Maybe. But, I mean, he could have tried. Could have done maybe something a little more. Or it could be that the guns, his secondary batteries are on the rear, and maybe he wanted to try and shoot me. I have no idea. But you can see the amount of firepower that the Nuremberg can really dish out here. Like every 5 seconds you've got a kick-ass salvo going down range. And it's the same thing at the Königsberg as well. As long as you can play the ships in a way that you understand that you have no armor and your citadels are gigantic and easily able to be hit. As long as you can understand that, maneuver your ship around, put yourself into better positions. See what? Yeah, that was just a random shot from one of their battleships that almost took me out there because I wasn't paying attention. And those things can happen in your German destroyers or German cruisers, at least at the up to tier 6 anyway. From what I saw of tier 7, I think it'll happen there as well, but we just need to, learn how to play these cruisers a little more, I guess. Just have a little more time with them, and then we'll see. Plus, I fully expect to, right, like, these are brand new ships, so I would expect to see some nerfs and some buffs to the Russian and German cruisers, which will come. Right now, I know they went full release with it and whatnot, but you can almost say that, the player base, they're testing it on the live server right now. And based on that feedback, they'll make more changes. They do the same thing in tanks, right? The game is always evolving, so we will see changes. I do agree, though, that they might need to look at the susceptibility of the engine and rudder on German cruisers to be knocked out, because it's a little ridiculous. Just a little. Anyway, not too bad of a battle, right? We are capping their base now. They're capping our base, but luckily we're ahead of them in the cap. And I think, yeah, we do have some ships going back to our base. We had a ship there who was holding it off while we were dealing with the enemy aircraft carriers, but unfortunately he died. But we have more ships on their way back to defend it. Turns out we don't need it because we got the points to win anyway. Oh no, turns out we did need it. They got the points to win anyway. So, I mean, overall I was top of the team, but it wasn't too bad. We just sort of lost focus on our cap down there, but still, good battle, and we did get to see the firepower of the Nuremberg. So thank you so much for watching today's video. I do hope you enjoyed it. As always, leave any comments you may have for me as well. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and be sure to subscribe as well if you haven't already done so. And as always, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.